Hello, thanks for staying with us on BERNAMA today. You're still with me, Elaine Notla, and in the studio I'm speaking to Geeta Kandya. She's, of course, the IP expert. We're talking about intellectual property expert and the director of CAS International. And today we're talking about monetizing your intellectual property. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you, Elaine.
Fantastic to have you on the show. We've been speaking about intellectual property as a whole, and of course, we've sort of shed some light about what intellectual property is and why it's important to get your products protected on intellectual property. But how do you actually make it earn for you? You know, make money for you. How do you monetize intellectual property?
So that's why you're here today.
Yes.
It's an excellent question. Having intellectual properties by itself doesn't make sense if you don't actually make money from your IP rights.
Right.
So there are a couple of strategies, a couple of ways, and the first one could be charging premium pricing.
How does that work? Because I think most people, when they talk about intellectual property, they're doing it so that nobody steals from them. So it's sort of like protecting yourself, not to make it like earn for you as an active sort of role. So this is more like you know, using it in a different way, not just so that you fend off all those people who might want to take what's yours.
Yeah.
But now you are able to use that in order for you to generate more income.
It's kind of like a catch-22 situation, because that's very well said in the sense that you're building a fence.
Yes.
Most of the time, intellectual property rights, it's like an insurance. Someone said that, why do you even protect intellectual property? But it's actually like insurance.
Right.
You're taking insurance so that if anything bad happens,
yes,
you can then bring it up. See,
correct.
I can now take you to court.
So it's always on sort of like a back burner.
Yes, but it's a catch-22 situation. It's not only that. It gives you that. It gives you protection, but you can also have extra rights. So you have rights when you have trademarks and patents and design rights, IP rights that we spoke about in the previous sessions. It's your rights. It's monopolistic rights.
Right.
So if I open a restaurant and I have a specific concept and a name, you can't copy elements of mine that I've protected.
Correct.
But that also means that if people like my product, they like my services, and I have the rights, no one else can utilize those rights.
Right.
I can take advantage of the fact that only I can produce this product, only I can sell this under this brand, so I can charge premium pricing.
Right. So what do you mean by charging premium pricing? How does that work?
So it's a strategy. It doesn't work with all businesses because it depends on your target market. Premium pricing might lose the target market if your target market
and the product specifically as well.
Correct. So let's take an example. So premium pricing in the sense that where your target markets are middle class or upper class, then premium pricing works in that market.
That's right.
iPod, for example, is a product that Apple came out with, and there were already many MP3 players in the marketplace with various different brands and various different designs. But the way Apple launched the product, they did a lot of marketing behind it, but the product was very sleek. If you remember the first iPod that came about, it was really sleek.
This looks like sort of like a long, sort of like flat piece.
It looks like a remote control, right?
It looks
like a remote control, and then
but with a screen on it.
Yeah, with a screen and also a wheel,
sort of, like a toggle wheel.
That's right. So it was a nice design. There was features about it. That wheel had patents on it, the way you can move music and select music, and that sleek design was also protected by industrial design. And then they had the name iPod that was protected. So they had intellectual property rights protecting it. But also because they had patents and it was a new design that no one else can copy, so they charged premium pricing. It was more expensive than an average MP3 player, but it was cooler to carry a iPod compared to a normal MP3 player.
Exactly.
So those are strategies that they took into place, that I charge premium pricing. So that's for designs, and there are many other products that no one else can produce. So let's say drugs, for example. Viagra. No one else can produce Viagra because they had patents in the composition of the drug.
Right.
And they also had multitude. They had the brand Viagra was protected. The design Viagra is one of the rare pills that had a color for the pill. It was blue color.
Yes, correct.
And they have
the blue pill. Everybody knows the blue pill.
That's right. And they had a diamond-shaped design as well.
Right.
So, but they also had patents. So in the Viagra, for example, is they can charge higher because that drug's not available by anyone else. No other drug company can produce that. So when you have monopolistic rights, you can charge higher prices because people want your products and no one else can produce your products.
What I can see from here is that if you're talking about charging premium pricing, this strategy needs to come way before you even put it to market, because this is something that you already had plans for. Does it particularly work for those that are already out in the market and realize that, you know, you've now got a demand and then now you up your pricing?
Only if they've come up with new intellectual property rights. So you've refreshed your product and you have better designs. And that happens. You get new camera launch or new phone launch. New phones are always higher pricing.
Correct.
New features in the phone, new designs. So if it's a new product or an improved version, yes, but not for current product, and you're well well said in the sense that it has to be a plan. It's a strategy before you launch the product.
Correct.
And again, it really depends on your target market.
Right.
You can't do premium pricing when your target market is lower income group. So it depends on the type of product, the target market. What are you selling?
Okay.
Sorry, another example is Hooters, for instance.
Right.
The brand Hooters, where there's ladies in interesting outfits serving food.
Yes.
So it's as a concept that's protected in the brand.
Right.
So they can price premium pricing for the products, for the food, or even cover charge if they enter a certain club that's unique.
Right.
So those are the things in terms of services that they can be premium pricing.
Right. So essentially, when you talk about charging premium pricing, it's a conceptual thing that you strategize prior, and then you put it to market, and therefore, you know, you have this offering that nobody else has, and therefore you're able to capture that market.
That's right.
Now let's move on. Monetizing your intellectual property rights is not just on charging premium pricing, of course. There's other ways. So, for example, those who, like in a lower income group, or sorry, like if you're targeting a lower target market and you're not charging premium pricing, there are other ways for you to monetize as well.
Yeah, these rights, I mean, a lot of people know about it. A lot of people hear the words licensing, the phrases licensing, franchising.
That's right.
So, and there's confusion sometimes because it's interlinked.
But they're different.
Licensing is a subset of franchising. So franchising is a bigger picture,
right.
and all franchises have a license. Right. Licensing can stand alone on its own. So not all licenses are a franchise.
Okay.
Let me shed some
okay, let's start with licensing first. Okay.
All right, so licensing is, so intellectual property rights are monopolistic rights. It's your rights. If you have IP rights, it's your rights, which means that no one else can use it without your permission. Yeah. So what if they want those rights? What if they want to utilize those rights?
And you want to offer
allow
that
it? Yeah, yes. You're like, okay, I'll give you permission, and for that, I would like some revenue from that.
Royalties and revenues.
So that's royalties or license fees. Royalties and license fees are revenue from my permission. I allow you to use it. So that is another opportunity. It's passive income. Yes. You've built the intellectual property right. You've created intellectual property right. So now, how can people relate to this? The way they relate would be, if you have IP rights, and an example would be, we had a client who had a strong brand in menswear, but he was not producing any accessories. So cufflinks, tie-pins, shoes, belts, all that men's accessories, he was not producing it. That was not his interest, and it was not his line to, he didn't intend to get into that chain of products at all. And he had a third party approach him saying, you have this brand, it's already well known in Malaysia. Can I start producing the accessories? Right. So that's an example of licensing. Right. So it's my brand. I'll allow you to use it for products that are ancillary to my business. Right.
So passive income by extending your product range, but you're not producing it, somebody else wants to produce it, so you still earn money from lending your name.
Yes. So the extending the product range sometimes works if it's a good image for you. Yeah. Sometimes extending the product range, you really have to consider, is that your business strategy? Yes. Is that what you want for your brand? Yeah. Like McDonald's, for instance, do they want someone to start selling clothes or toys? So it really depends.
Sorry. It's like Ronald McDonald's sort of like product range.
So extending the product range has to tally in with your brand. Yeah. And licensing is also important for you to then manage the products that they are producing. Yeah. Does it actually, the quality of the products, it has to be important.
So there's a lot of things in place, you know. Yeah. You're talking about quality, your reputation at stake, and you also have to have some kind of I don't know whether or not you have any creative control over it. So I think those are the questions that you get.
Well, the control that you have, it will all be in the agreement. So there'll be terms of the agreement. It can be relaxed, it can be tight. So that all depends on the negotiation and what do you want as the IP owner. Right. You can also, apart from product range extension, you can do territory extension. So if you only want to concentrate on the ASEAN market, someone else interested to bring this brand to another market, and around those areas. So there's various ways that you can maximize your intellectual property.
Those are opportunities for you to be able to extend your licensing rights and still be able to gain revenue. But I think just a quick caution that you mentioned that, you know, think about whether or not it's part of your plan, your bigger plan. We don't have time for talking about the franchise business. Hopefully maybe we can touch that on the next segment, because I think a lot of people would be interested in how to extend that and how to maximize that revenue potential as well. We'll take a short breather right now. When we come back, we have more stories to share with you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.